show her that she had made a terrible mistake. Maybe it would have been better to keep her apartment and take a leave at the company to see if this was really what she wanted to do. Why had she burned all of her bridges? Shaking her head with a rueful grimace, Callie walked to the door and opened it. Inside the tea room, an invigorating scent of ginger tea was in the air. Several tables were filled, and voices hummed on the air. From the back, something small and furry came running for Callie, and she squatted to pat Daisy, the Boston Terrier she had inherited from her boss's mother, and who had been part of her reason to want to move here. All of her traveling wouldn't have allowed her to keep the dog, but giving up Daisy had seemed impossible. Just feeling the soft fur under her fingertips and seeing the trust in the dog's eyes as she looked up at her, Callie knew she had been right about that. Daisy was hers. She lifted the dog in her arms and carried her past the tables filled with women who threw adoring glances at the cuddly terrier to reach the doors leading into the kitchen area. Great Aunt Iffy stood at the counter, scooping fresh raspberries onto chocolate cake. She didn't turn her head as she said in a tone of full concentration, "If you could just get me the whipped cream from the fridge." Callie guessed that her great aunt had taken her for one of her helpers and lowered Daisy to the ground. She put a finger to her lips to indicate that Daisy shouldn't betray her presence. As if she understood right away and played along, the Boston Terrier stayed perfectly still. Callie went to the fridge and got out the bowl of whipped cream. She put it on the counter beside Iffy, who was fully focused on arranging the raspberries. "Thank you," she muttered in a distracted tone. Callie stood beside her, watching the creation take shape, grinning to herself as she wondered how long it would take her great aunt to notice it wasn't one of her helpers beside her. As usual, Iffy looked impeccable in a cream blouse and long flower-patterned skirt. Her pumps were the same pale blue as the flowers on the skirt and the thin gauze shawl around her neck. Her hair was made up into a neat bun at the back of her head, secured with a pearly clasp. At last, Iffy was satisfied with the arrangement on the plate and looked up. "You can take this to table—" Her eyes widened as she took in Callie. "You're here! Why didn't you call to tell me it would be today?" "I wanted to surprise you." "You're staying now, right? This is the move?" Callie nodded, smiling despite the nerves in her stomach. The move was exactly what worried her. The finality of it all. No turning back. Iffy reached out and wrapped Callie in a hug that was surprisingly tight and strong for a frail elderly woman. "Welcome home, Callie. I can't tell you how happy I am to have you here at last." Callie hugged her great aunt back, for a moment thinking that she might have done the right thing after all. Iffy needed her to help out both at book tea and in the preservation of majestic Haywood Hall, a rambling old house on the outskirts of town, inhabited by Hart's Harbor's oldest resident, rich widow Dorothea Finster. That was, everybody had believed Dorothea to be rich until the presentation of her new will at Christmas time had revealed that she was deeply in debt and needed others to help her preserve the house. Callie had agreed to help out, along with Iffy, and she realized now that the house that had fascinated her as a little girl was part of the new life she was going to build there in Hart's Harbor. That was amazing in itself. No matter how much she might miss traveling to historic sites, there was a historic site right here for her to preserve, her own contribution to keeping town history alive. Iffy held her shoulders and smiled up at Callie with laughter wrinkles around her clear blue eyes. "It's not too busy. I can sneak out and show you the cottage I got for you to live in. It wasn't easy. Everything gets rented to tourists in the summer, but I found you something I know you'll like. It does need a little work." Callie froze. "What do you mean, work?" She didn't intend to spend her sunny